Now let's get to writing implementation to be able to search for courses by text, because currently, as we can see, we can only filter courses by using text in the title or description. But when we are trying to select text and run the search, those selected texts are not appearing in the address line. So let's fix it. Let's switch back to the editor. And we need to find the component when we render text, which is filter.blade.php. Right here, next to each tag, we also show the checkbox. So now I'm going to assign the name to this checkbox to be able to reference it from within the controller. After we're gonna submit filter form. Here I'm using array notation because we're going to send all checkboxes in a single array. And each checkbox represents individual tag identifier. That means that the user will be able to select more than one tag. And of course, to differentiate those checkboxes, we also have to assign value attribute with the proper tag identifier. So after form submission, all selected tags are going to be available under array with the name of tags in the Laravel controller. And to be able to check those selected tags on the next page load, I'm going to use the following expression. Here I'm using inArray function to see whether the particular tag has been selected before. And if it was, this inArray function call is going to return true, which will add checked attribute to this checkbox. There is a Blade directive called dump, which lets us print any value in the markup. Let's test it out and see what text array is going to contain. And by the way, the second argument in here, which is an empty array, is going to be returned if text array will not exist. So as you can see, when we don't select any text, this array is empty, but after I will select the view and submit this form, sure enough, this array is going to contain identifier of text, and those tag identifiers are also present in the address line. Alright, now let's use those tag identifiers in our controller to apply filtering by text. The controller which is responsible for filtering courses is called course controller, particularly method with the name of index. And right here, I'm temporarily going to comment out filtering by text in the title and description. Let's write logic to filter courses by text, and we're gonna use whereas method, which lets us apply filtering based on related models, and in our case, each course relates to more than one tag. The first parameter in here will be the relationship method name, and as we know, our course model contains method with the name of text, which describes many-to-many relationship. And the second argument to this function should be callback, which takes query builder that we can use further to apply extra conditions. So in this case, I'm gonna use wherein method call, which lets us apply SQL in operator. And we basically have to filter all tags based on that text array that we have received from the browser, and keep only those courses with tags that we have actually selected, or courses that have at least one of those tags that were selected. Once again, in order for this whereas method to work, we need to have relationship method on the model with the same name that we have specified in the first argument when calling this whereas method. So here we have such relationship method with a name text on the course model. And eventually this whole query is going to return us only those courses that have at least one of those tags that the user has selected in the browser. Now I'm gonna switch over to the browser and apply this filtering. Let's select one tag, press search, and sure enough, we're going to receive all those courses that have this tag. But the moment I'm going to reset those filters, we're going to get such exception. That is because text array will be undefined when we are resetting filters, and this line causes an exception. So to avoid such cases and actually apply filtering by text only when text array exists, I'm going to use method called when, which takes an expression as the first parameter, and if this expression turns true, we're gonna call the function that we're passing as the second argument into this method call. In our case, this callback is only going to be executed when text array will be defined. And if I'm going to reset filters once again, This time we will not see that error, and all query params have been stripped from the address line. Let's also apply the same technique when we are filtering by text in the title and description. So here I'm gonna use method when and check when the search string will be present. Only then we're gonna apply filtering by the text in the title and description. Let's also inspect the query. We can always get the raw query by calling to SQL method on the query builder object. I'm gonna print out this resulting query in the browser, but before that, let me add a couple of filters in the address bar. Basically, we're simulating a filter form submission in this way, and after I'll press enter, we will get such generated query, which we can copy and paste into Table Plus, apply formatting, and take a look at this query. Here are all the filters that we are applying to this query. But for now, as you can see, we're using operator OR. If the first part of this OR expression is going to return true, that means that the second part, which comes after OR operator, will not matter anymore. But in fact, we need to always apply filtering by text along with filtering by text in title and description. That means we need to change the order of operations in this query. In other words, we'll have to wrap title and description filtering within parentheses. This way we will ensure that filters are always going to be applied by text in the title and description as well as by text. So how can we apply grouping to some of those filters? By using query builder. And to wrap these two filters within parentheses, we're gonna have to wrap these two lines into another function call. First of all, let's call method where, which is going to take callback, which in turn takes query builder, and all that we're gonna put within this callback will basically be wrapped in parentheses. Let's check it out once again. I'm going to refresh the page to get the fresh SQL query. Then I'll grab this query and paste it into Table Plus. Let's examine filters once again, and this time, as you can see, title and description parts have been wrapped into parentheses. So that means that we are always going to apply filtering by text in title and description as well as by text. Alright, cool. Now let's get back to the editor and revert some of those changes. Let's get the previous working state of this query. And I'm gonna do one final check in the browser. Let's search for courses by view text. We got 2 courses. And if I'm gonna apply filtering by text, let's choose Laravel. That means we're gonna get only one course because only one of these 2 courses contains Laravel tag. And let's also pick one tag which is present on the second course but not on first, and make sure that only this course will be returned. As you can see, our filters work properly. Link to source code will be in the video description.